Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Nextlander podcast. Brad Shoemaker, welcome back to December again. Still December.
Good to still be here.
It's still here. We still got a couple more weeks in.
Might say I never left.
Alex Navarro. Drumming.
Yes, I will be.
Gonna drum your way into the new year.
I guess so, yeah.
Little drummer boy.
Yeah, it's wild. The idea of, I mean, look, again, I don't know for certain that this is this band's last show, but I'm kind of treating it like, hey, what if this is just the last time I get up in front of people and play drums?
Ever?
I mean, in a band.
Forever?
Yeah. I don't know if it's a safe assumption to say that I will do it again, you know? Like, it's not a thing that I want to, like, put myself in the position of being like, you know, oh, you know, this is the, like, I'll do this many more times down the road and then be like, nope, never happened. So I'm going to treat this like it is the big send-off that it could possibly be.
Gotcha, but you're excited.
Yeah, I am excited. I mean, I haven't played a show in over a year, and also this is going to be kind of a big one, so I'm just like treating it like a blowout.
And one more time for the folks who want to go possibly see it, though you said maybe getting near sold out.
Very close to, yeah. So we are playing with Sick of It All and Sub-Zero, if you like the hardcore music, specifically the New York variety. This Saturday, the show starts at 2 p.m. It is at the Meadows in Brooklyn at 17 Meadow Street. We go on around 3 o'clock. So yeah,
okay. Grab
a ticket if you want to come. If
Do you know how long the whole show is?
It's a matinee show. I assume it'll probably be done before. I mean, if we're going on at 3, I'm gonna say it's probably done before 7.
Okay,
maybe 8 o'clock.
That's kind of like a long time out there.
Yeah, because there's another show going on, I think, at the venue down the street at like 8. So I think that's why they did it as a daytime show. But yeah,
daytime hardcore.
Yep.
It's like,
I mean, it's Saturday. What else are you doing on your Saturday?
Daytime Saturday hardcore. We watching cartoons? What do you know?
Welcome to Hardcore Saturdays.
Welcome to a hardcore matinee.
Yeah.
That's a different thing. You got thrown out of the theater for that.
You used to have to go down to Times Square for that.
Yeah, not anymore.
Yeah. Thanks, Giuliani.
Let's jump right in. Brad Shoemaker. We got a game that has not even come out yet. Speaking of hardcore games.
Has it not?
Hardcore gaming. Well, I guess it depends on when you're listening to this. As of the time of this recording, you have snuck your way into the Na'vi, infiltrated. What reports from Pandora?
What reports from Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes a game comes out and you just need to know.
Yes, I need to know.
You know?
I don't know.
I just got the code last night, so I have not had a ton of time to get into it, but have you played Far Cry?
I have.
Which one?
Any of them?
Okay.
Except for the first 2.
Yeah, let's say from 3 on.
I feel like the modern would you say Far Cry, we're actually talking about Far Cry 3 to the present.
A Ubisoft Far Cry.
The current.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have indeed.
Yeah. It seems very much in that mold so far. So if like perhaps more so than I expected, but like I'm actually like kind of impressed with it. Like
on what level?
Against the standards of like licensed games, let's say. You know what I mean?
Okay. Sure, like your non-Spider-Man?
Yes, actually, some licensed games are quite good these days.
Yeah, but not as many as, there are fewer licensed games. I feel like the other direction is licensed properties from games, like The Last of Us and stuff, trying to make some good stuff from a game.
Yeah, there are fewer licensed games, but also there's way fewer ones that go from middle to high budget. Like a lot of licensed stuff these days is either just sort of tossed off on PC or mobile. Every once in a while you get a AAA studio making a Spider-Man, but for the most part that doesn't really happen that often anymore.
Yeah.
It's like Star Wars and Marvel, basically.
And also, like, the best licensed games are just games, right? They're not games adapted from a movie or, like, tied into some other property. It's just like, hey, this is a Spider-Man game that was made from the ground up as a Spider-Man game.
Yes.
Though this is not a tie-in either, to be clear, but some of this is me having reviewed the last Avatar game in 2009 talking, which absolutely was a movie tie-in game, and was not amazing. But this seems okay so far. Like I to be clear, I have like no strong feelings about Avatar, the property, either way. I have not seen the second movie, if that tells you anything.
Okay,
But-
so you're not sure in the grander Pandora universe what's in or out from the second movie.
They have said the words Jake Sully once.
Okay.
Who's that?
That's the main guy.
That's the Sam Worthington character from the first one, or both
First
of them,
one.
I guess.
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
wet noodle from the first movie.
Like there's like I'm guessing this is set somewhere either between the two movies or maybe like toward the beginning of the second one. There's like reference to him having like, I forget what they may actually use the words "gone native." I can't remember if it's a human saying it, so it's
Yeah.
like somebody complaining about it. I think, if I remember. But anyway, it's like post the events of the first game, so like he has defected at this point.
And sorry, it's been a long time since I've seen Avatar, but the idea being one could transmit their mind into the body of a cloned, like a not you're not-
genetically engineered
genetically
Navi.
grown in a vat kind of being,
Okay,
I believe.
yeah.
I haven't
Navi.
seen the first movie since 2009.
yeah.
But basically a human would be in like a pod, like in stasis or like asleep,
Yeah.
kind of mind melded with their avatar.
But
But
not,
eventually, like at the end of the movie, they somehow figure out a way to like permanently transfer the consciousness so that the human body is just kind of done.
But the idea being, and again, I think this just relates to this game, or at least what I've seen from the trailer for this game, is when they were doing that, they weren't subverting some other Navi's consciousness, right? It was
No.
an empty vessel.
No. Yes.
It was an
Okay.
empty vessel.
Yes.
But this
Yes.
game has you as some kind of Navi that was raised.
Yeah, this is totally a different thing. Like you are one of a very few number of children that were kidnapped. Like your tribe was basically wiped out by the humans, and you and some of your fellow children were basically kidnapped and like brainwashed, like indoctrinated,
Okay.
like in a straight up like militarized human school,
Okay.
which feels like it's got some echoes of kind of things that have taken place in this country, let's say,
Uh-huh.
in the past. But basically, the story starts out with you kind of as a child, and like some of you are trying to resist the brainwashing, others have kind of bought it wholesale, So like there's the one character who like doesn't even speak the native language anymore. He only speaks like in English, or he only knows how to use human weapons. Like there's a process of like convincing him like, no, these people suck.
Okay.
Like we don't want to stay here actually. I think they're basically trying to like raise you as sort of human aligned Navi soldiers / liaisons, like kind of like having people that can be on the inside and like try to subvert further clans and stuff like that. I think it's kind of the gist. Anyway, it's just kind of a flash forward intro of you getting out of there.
Oh, you're not playing through a lot of that?
I mean, it is a playable intro, but after half an hour, like it flashes forward to adulthood and a bunch of shit goes sideways and you're out of there.
Okay, and is this... It seems like when I saw the trailer, it seemed like a setup for you to not be... For them to be able to explain how to be a Navi to you in the game.
There's that is absolutely, at least in the early plot, a major focus of like you rediscovering like the ways of your people, because like,
you don't have all the abilities quite yet.
Yeah, there's like a whole thing of like, we kind of know the melodies of our clan, but we don't know the words sort of thing.
Go climb this tower and learn the notes.
Yeah, kind of. I haven't like quite explicitly climbed a tower yet, but there's definitely stuff like that.
Okay.
I mean, they do the thing where like the early game, the first 2-3 hours is in like a kind of enclosed valley. And I've just gotten to the point where they turn you loose in the full open world. So
is there some kind of have you hit the point in a story where there's some kind of impending crisis that you need to? Okay,
not.
so you're just living your Navi life.
It's very much like you're meeting people. Like there's an occupation going on, so you're meeting people, and some of them have like much more aggressive ideas about how to fight the occupation than others. It seems like it's like you'll meet somebody who's like, hey, the rest of my clan does not think the way I do in terms of how we should fight the humans and stuff like that. But it's very much like my quests are still like, hey, go meet this, go link up with this new clan and see if you can get them on your side.
But no
stuff.
outpost taken out yet.
I did like one of those in that early starting area, which seems like something that very much could be repeated, say 2 to 3 dozen times across the map. It was like an oil or some kind of drilling refinery thing where you blow up a generator and hack a thing.
I see.
Hack a computer.
Did it take off a thing on a map? Did an icon go from like white to red or something?
Now that you mention it, I actually didn't think about this. There are no icons on the map,
Get out of here.
which actually feels like maybe a
Stop
reaction to some criticism. I haven't opened up that much of the map. I just started, like I said, roaming the actual open world.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
going to say, I don't think that's going to last. There will be icons on that map at some point.
There has been no legend, and none of the little villages or like the giant upgrade flowers that I found, any of that stuff has like an icon on the map. It's like a little glowing spots here and there.
Mhm.
Huh.
But it's a 3D map, like a topographical map. So like they're using like the real structures on the map to represent stuff. But like a Ubisoft map game with no icons is kind of weird now that I think
Hard
about
to
it.
believe. Maybe once you get a more expansive map, you can zoom out. Maybe as more areas come in or something like that.
Yeah, you can see the whole map from the beginning, but it's all covered in clouds until you uncover stuff. Anyway, it is very similar to the Far Cry games. Like you start with a bow, you very quickly get an assault rifle. I've got a
Okay.
trap thrower, like a kind of a mine sort of thrower,
Okay.
sling kind of thing right now.
Sling thing.
Like everything can be upgraded. It seems very crafting and hunting and gathering focused. Like,
What are you crafting?
everything. Like I said, I just got to the first like outpost that outside the starting area that has like crafting tables and stuff. So,
But is it like weapon
I'm
mods or
just figuring that stuff out? It seems like weapon mods drop so far
okay?
because like every weapon has mod slots on it, and I've gotten mods for all of those so far. Those all seem to drop or come out of containers, but at the first crafting table, it immediately gave me like all the armor slots you can craft for.
Okay.
There's a cooking thing. Like you're going around gathering like meat and vegetables and stuff to cook with. You're going around getting all kinds of materials to make armor out of. Like the gathering is like the one. So like nothing in this game has like blown my mind. Like every piece of this game I have seen has been like very familiar if you have played this style of open world game.
It's kind of what I thought we were walking into here.
With the one exception of the gathering stuff so far. And again, I'm not very far into it, but like all the fruits and stuff that you pick. There's a little mini game attached to like there's quality of loot, there's like pristine, fine, common, you know what I mean? Like,
Okay,
it's like,
yeah.
If you get a pristine fruit, it's going to cook a better meal, etc.
Are those buffs for the meals?
Also, I mean, I'm again just still piecing the stuff together, but there's a little mini game first of all when you go to pick a thing where it's like you kind of have to like feather the I'm on the PS5, like you have to kind of like feather the right trigger, and then line up a thing with the D-pad, or I mean the analog stick, and then pull the trigger all the way. It's like if you just hit the button and yank this thing off, you're going to damage it or get a worse quality fruit.
Lame.
And on top of that, the fruits also have like, I don't even know how to describe it, challenges on them. Like some fruits, you get a better quality fruit if you pick it while it's raining.
Oh my gosh.
Some of them, you get a better fruit if you pick it at night.
Okay. Okay. Look. Yeah, sure. I don't live on Pandora. What do I know?
Like, right. And so like I
It's a weird planet.
crafted some like pants or something, and it gave a big range of how much health it could have on it, like a big range. And I got pretty close to the low end of that range when I crafted it. So I wonder if I go get better fiber and go back or do some other thing. If I craft those pants again, maybe I'll get way better versions of those pants. I'm not sure.
Interesting.
Unobtainium in your pants to make them better.
Basically.
Have you seen any unobtainium yet?
Not yet. No.
Okay.
No.
Do you for the food stuff? Is it just like temporary buff, or is there some kind of stamina?
I haven't gotten any recipes, so I haven't been able to cook anything. I've just been eating stuff raw. But there's a whole concept of like keeping your energy up. Like you eat food to charge your energy, and as your energy is up, your health will just recharge automatically.
Okay.
But once you're out of energy or low on energy, your health does not recharge anymore.
Okay.
So you're not eating to get health; you're eating to get energy. But it's kind of the same thing. But then looking at the cooking stuff, it seems like it's very much a Zelda style, like or monster. Technically, I guess it's really more Monster Hunter than Zelda, because that's where that stuff came from. But it's very much like make a meal, and it's like, oh, you'll get 10 minutes of this buff, or if you make it with pristine food, maybe you'll get 15 minutes of this buff, that kind of thing.
Do you get any kind of choice in your character creation at all, or is it just you
visually
get this Navi?
Visually, like you can kind of choose the basics of what you would expect from a character creator, but that's it. Like,
how do they get around like your Navi's name? Are you
they refer to you as you a lot?
You?
Like
Okay.
they just never give you a name, really.
Okay. Well, that's one way to do it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you taken your braid and plugged it into anything?
Yep.
What'd you do? A tree?
Flying
Giant flower, I would say. No, but one of the flying things has shown up at this point.
Okay.
They
You
made a
can't
big deal
fly
out of
that
it
thing
showing
yet.
up.
That's come on, man.
Yeah.
Have you gotten on a vehicle yet?
No. I'm just getting like it seems like there's probably going to be a decent number of mobility perks. Like I got it's kind of a double jump, kind of an air dash combo sort of thing is the first thing I've gotten, and those are just like scattered around the map. Those are called like ancestral skills. The next one, or one of the next ones, is like the ability to run up to one of the big human mechs and just rip the human out of it and kill them.
There we go.
That's the next one?
The most important ancestral skill.
Yeah, mech jacking.
Yes.
Is it like are there like melee weapons where you can like run up?
You have a punch so far. Okay. You might start getting actual weapons on that. Right now, it's just a punch.
Like dodge, counter, any of that?
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Like
have you seen
standard...
any military Navi yet? Like military dudes as Navi?
Oh, you mean like humans in avatars? No,
like actually, I'm talking about avatars wearing Ray-Bans.
Right. No, I mean like some of your friends start out that way because you're in that human school, so you're all wearing like RDA t-shirts and shit. But I mean, it's straight up like they make tech out of RDA scrap after you get out of there in the Resistance, and like there's a whole thing about like, hey, we can scratch the RDA logos off of these things if you want, like, or paint over them, like they don't love the symbol of the RDA once they get out of there.
It's fair.
I don't remember where Avatar 1 left off. Were they still on the planet trying to colonize
that's the thing
planet?
I'm confused about is that like I don't know at what point of that arc I'm coming in here. Like
okay.
If I remember, like when you're a kid in this, I think they're still there and trying to like mine resources and stuff, and then they all leave.
Oh.
Yeah,
but then as an adult, they come back.
It's like a second wave or something.
Yeah, I don't know if that's probably from the second movie.
It has to be because at the end of the first movie, they definitely leave with their tail between their legs, like the ships like all fly off, and they've kind of been left to their own devices on the planet again. Finally,
yeah.
So there's no like previously on Avatar at the top of this thing.
Not really, no.
Okay,
like,
they expect you to know.
Yeah. Like they give you pretty thorough setup for what's going on with you and your friends, but not super comprehensive about the state of the world.
James Cameron's going to be disappointed.
I kind of get it, because once a movie makes that many billions of dollars, like, you just kind of assume that most people going into a video game based on it would kind of know the log line of what's going on. But at the same time, I didn't watch that second movie, so I don't know what the hell's going on. And, I mean, I probably never will. I mean, look, again, if Avatar has one hater left on this earth, it's me. So...
I don't hate it, but I didn't care enough to go see it. But now I kind of wish I had while it was in like something like an IMAX or something with 3D.
Mm-hmm.
Like I probably will not ever see it either. Now that I would watch it on a TV, right?
Yeah.
Like all I have seen about it is like, oh my god, it's like the most amazing technical spectacle you've ever seen in a movie, and like I wish I had gone to see it for that reason. But now that ship sailed, like whatever.
Don't worry, when the fifth one comes out in about 15 years,
yes.
They will do a marathon of all of them in IMAX and 3D and whatever.
Also, I could just go see the third one. Like,
yeah.
There will be more opportunities to see what the state of the art is by James Cameron soon enough.
Here's what this article says in terms of placing this game.
Okay.
In the Avatar universe, the events of the first movie take place in the year 2154. And we know that the Na'vi character from the Frontiers of Pandora has been in cryosleep for 15 years. According to the official Pandorapedia, Avatar: The Way of Water picks up Jake's story. I don't know who that is. After the
Jake Sully, that's the main guy.
15 years after the Battle of the Hallelujah Mountains, that's around the time that the player's character in Frontiers of Pandora wakes up.
Yeah,
this puts the year about battle. 2170 for the game and the second movie. So it sounds like maybe you're
It'll
right.
Lead into the second movie.
Yeah, like kind of.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. That's what it felt like to me.
I mean, especially considering I think this game was originally intended to come out around the time the second movie came out. So
yeah, it feels like they've been pitching this for a long time.
Yeah, it's been in the works for some time,
like 2+ years or something. I don't know if you're super into Avatar, this seems not bad.
Seems competent at least.
If you're not, I would say. If you're a fan of hunting things to make a wallet out of in Far Cry, there's probably a lot for you here.
Apparently, there are a lot of fans of Avatar, so
Yeah,
those movies do well.
To each their own. But
I don't pretend that I'm not an outlier here as a hater. Like, I understand they were very popular and still, because that second movie also did very, very well, but just can't do it, man. Just can't get on board with this stuff. I love Jim Cameron. I'm not one of those people that is of the opinion that Jimmy C never misses.
Yeah, fair.
I'm more of like an indifferent Avatar person, where I think at the time walking out of, I think we covered this other places, but walking out of that movie was like, oh, that was visually interesting, and that story sure did kind of feel kind of dumb.
Yeah.
I don't know, but like technology wise, that was very interesting, and I feel like coming out of the first Avatar, that was more of the takeaway, because boy, there was a lot around the technology and the motion capture in that first movie. I feel like that was one of the first ones I remember seeing where they had the video screens doing performance capture for people. Like they would have the little like camera pointed at their face as they would smile and stuff, and then capture performances and put them on a thing. And so I don't know, maybe Way of Water does that. Maybe this game does that. I don't know. Does it look good?
Yes, that's actually the thing I was waiting to say. Like, I like hunting things to craft out of, but the thing I actually came to this game for is there's no way to show off newer video game consoles like a good jungle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You know, feel like straight up original Far Cry, original Crysis foliage, you know?
Uh-huh.
You got new hardware, you want to see what a dense jungle looks like on it. This game looks very good. Like, it looks quite good, I have to say.
And what are you playing on?
PS5.
Okay.
They straight up do a Fallout, like walking out of the vault door moment. Like the first 30 minutes of this game is like extremely drab because you're in kind of the military installation exclusively, and they straight up just have you exit the facility into like this incredibly brightly lit, lush jungle that is very much like a Fallout exiting vault moment. Yeah, it looks fantastic.
Well, I don't remember what that Na'vi like architecture is. Is it what, do they have cities?
I don't remember a lot
it's
of
tree.
structures.
It was the tree.
Yeah,
they had a lot of like tree-based tree houses, like
kind of like elven style, like traditional, like
not even
fantasy
that,
elven,
really.
like
No,
trees.
It was a lot more like in tune with nature. So it was a lot of like huts and things like that.
Okay,
or just platforms built into trees and stuff.
But they have a lot of nice glowy lights, right? I remember that from the movie.
Yes,
like,
it's extremely colorful, like a lot of glowing stuff everywhere, especially at night.
I mean, the entire planet is nothing but glowing stuff.
Like weather seems like a pretty big deal. Like in the starting, like when you hover around the different zones on the map, it shows like what the climate is. Like I'm in kind of a rainforest area right now, and sure enough, it rains like a lot there.
Okay,
and like the rainstorms look really good. You know, just stuff blowing everywhere, and like they put a lot of work into the environment in this.
And you're first person, right?
Yeah, it's first person game. Yeah, and there's I haven't seen a ton of it yet, but there's like kind of. I forget what they call them. Just kind of zip vines hanging around from trees that you can just run up to and hit a button and it'll kind of zip you up into the branches pretty quickly. Stuff like that. So like it seems like kind of upward mobility type stuff is probably going to be a thing.
But are you platforming or doing any kind of parkour?
There is a little bit of platforming. There is definitely some having to jump gaps and stuff. So
okay,
not a ton.
And you're like 8 feet tall? Aren't Na'vi big?
Yeah, you're pretty tall. I don't know how tall,
like,
but pretty tall.
Probably like when you're with the humans, are you kind of just looking down on them?
So absolutely. It's
nice.
Like kind of comical, actually. Like I'd say you're like probably twice as tall as the humans or close to it.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah, they're like 12 feet tall, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Get inside one of those mechs. Maybe you'll take over a human. Maybe you'll like reverse animus or whatever into a human.
That feels like hustling backwards. I don't know.
Well, now you have to watch the movie, Brad.
Yep.
I wonder if you'll run across characters or something. What if you're like
Worthington in this game?
I don't know. What if you're intersecting with the narrative? What if you have to help out the main narrative of the movie? How are you going to know?
You know, I can infer a lot.
What if you have to know the Way of Water? What if they task? I really have zero plot basis. I assume it has something to do with water.
I
forget. There's a very heavy ocean element to that movie.
I forget why it came up. The movie came up on our Discord the other day, but people were basically saying that the last hour of it is just one long action scene.
Oh, wow.
Yes, that is correct.
Is apparently what that is. So,
is it regarded? I don't even remember hearing people talk about it. Is it regarded as good? People
who like the first one like the second one. I can say that.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, this seems competent enough that if you're looking for that kind of open world game, even if you're not super jazzed about Avatar, you probably still would have a decent time with it. It seems, like I said, it's super crafting focused to the point that when you use your detective vision, anything you scan, it'll give you a list of the mats that can come out of it, even animals that you're hunting,
sure,
and stuff like that. I haven't seen a ton of hunting yet, but the animals have weak points on them, and it seems like hitting the weak points might give you better materials and stuff. There's scents, you can detect scent trails in the environment to stalk animals or find the ones you're looking for, stuff like that. It seems very focused on just roaming around, finding stuff, plucking ingredients to make better things, etc.
With plucking mini games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Frontiers of Pandora, that is on the PS5 and the Xbox X and S and through the Ubisoft PC, whatever.
Yes, apparently they're only selling it through Ubisoft Connect.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's an interesting one.
Yeah, no Steam page for that one.
Yeah, definitely no Steam, but Ubisoft had at least been doing Epic Store for the last several PC releases.
$70 for the Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. That is out the 7th. Which is the time of this recording, is tomorrow. We're going to take a quick break. Come back. We got some more games to talk about in just a minute. This week's show is brought to you by Uncommon Goods. Alex Navarro, the season of giving is upon us.
And there's nothing worse in the season of giving than giving common gifts.
That's right. Or possibly feeling like you are under an immense amount of stress to try and find a gift for someone, and time is running out, and you just don't know what to do. What am I going to do?
What am I going to do, Vinny Caravella?
Well, Uncommon Goods has your back. Uncommon Goods looks for products that are high quality, unique, and often handmade or made in the U.S. They have the most meaningful, out-of-the-ordinary gifts anywhere. And I'll say, in my household, in this old household here, so there are some Uncommon Goods. We have had Uncommon Goods for plenty of holiday seasons. We have never had, though, to my experience, Uncommon Experiences, which are more than virtual classes. They're unexpected opportunities to have fun and connect in new ways, from tarot card reading, I'd do that, lunar astrology charting, I'd also do that, cooking and mixology classes, okay, I'll do the tarot card reading.
I'd do that.
Yeah, sure. Crafts, gardening, and so much more. From art and jewelry to kitchen, home, and bar, Uncommon Goods has something for everyone, and not the same lackluster gifts you could find just anywhere. And, Alex Navarro, with every purchase you make at Uncommon Goods, they give back $1 to a nonprofit partner of your choice. And so far, they've donated more than $2.5 million to date. To get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/Nextlander. That's uncommongoods.com/Nextlander for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, we're all out of the ordinary. Thanks, Uncommon Goods. This week's show is brought to you by Factor. Alex Navarro. If there's one thing I am this holiday season, it is busy. It is busy, and that means I have maybe not been as good about taking care of the meals I usually prepare for myself. You know what I mean?
I was going to say, if there's maybe one other thing about you this holiday season, it's that you're hungry.
I'm hungry, and if there's a third thing, there's just food around constantly. Leftovers, just meals just coming at me like freight trains all the time.
And they're not always going to be the healthiest, happiest meals.
No, not always. But Factor's there to help get me back on track. Factor is America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service, and can help you eat well for breakfast, lunch, dinner with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. They're ready in just 2 minutes. So all you have to do is heat them up and enjoy. I've had them before. It's true. They're delicious. And ready very quickly. Treat yourself to high-quality, delicious meals over the holidays. Choose from over 35 chef-crafted meals every week that support a healthy lifestyle and meet your meal preferences, whether it's Calorie Smart, vegan and veggie, protein plus, and more. They have a bunch of wholesome options. And Factor isn't just for dinner. You can count on extra convenience any time of the day with an assortment of over 55 add-ons to suit various preferences and tastes. Choose from their quick breakfast items, their lunch to go, their grab-and-go snacks, or ready-to-drink cold-pressed juices. With Factor, you can rest assured you're making a sustainable choice as they offset 100% of their delivery emissions and source 100% renewable electricity for their production sites and offices. How do you get in on all of this? Well, head to factormeals.com/Nextlander50 and use code Nextlander50 to get 50% off. That's code Nextlander50 at factormeals.com/Nextlander50 to get 50% off. Thanks, Factor. All right, we are back. And a game that has been recommended to me many times, has been in early access, but is coming out December 8th, Against the Storm. It is a city builder, well, a town builder, resource management kind of thing. I don't mean a city builder like city skyline builder, like building that kind of thing. This is more of like a Steam World build-ish.
Okay.
Like where you're kind of putting down your factories and your things, except this is much more fantasy oriented.
Right.
You have I think you're trying, I'm still pretty early on in it. This seems like a game that takes some time. I've got a couple of hours into it and I think I'm still in the tutorials. It's, you're trying to, at least where I am in this tutorial part, appease the queen. And you have a meter that is going up, and when your people of your little settlement get unhappy, you lose. That's it. Off with your head, I guess. And you got another meter that's going up on the other side. That is I think your happiness rating. There are different species. So there are like beaver people, like where I am, and there are like lizard folk and humans. And the beaver folk, you might guess, they're pretty good at wood stuff. And so you want to like maybe put them into your wood collecting chain. The lizard folk are pretty good at dealing with things that have to do with meat, so you might want to put them into your meat chain. And an interesting thing that at least where I'm at in the game is you kind of start off in a clearing, and as you chew back some of the forest by collecting it, there are limited resources as you're pulling stuff up. It's not one of those games that are just unlimited. You will use the resources visually on the map up. As you peel back layers of the forest, you uncover glades that have other resources in them, but they're fogged over to begin with. So there's kind of this fog of war over these parts until you chew into them, and then you kind of can unlock that area. And some of them are more dangerous than others, though I haven't really gotten too far into the danger part of it yet. People seem to really love this game, at least from what I can tell from recommendations and also from reviews of it. I think it is pretty neat so far, but I definitely need to spend some more time in it. It seems like a very big time sink style game of resource management and building. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Against the Storm, I gotta pack that one in somewhere. It's
Can you
stack it? I don't know. I guess I'll just mention this quickly. I'm still pushing through on Baldur's Gate 3. That big patch came out.
Yeah. I know you were waiting for that.
Yeah. They kind of snuck that one out there. I'm still running into some quest bug stuff here and there, which was kind of a bummer. You know, there's a lot packed into Act 3 where they're tying up a lot of different things. I had to do one quest, wouldn't pop for me. until I just hauled my ass back to a different area, murked an NPC, and just ran back, and then that quest would pop, and they're basically like, oh, it was the end of a quest, basically. I couldn't get the quest. The person wouldn't give me the quest. So basically I just shortcut the whole quest and killed the person eventually that they want you to kill. And then they're like, oh, you did the thing. Well, that's cool. Here's this robe. So I got my robe of water. Stuff like that. Like I basically have an iPad next to me at this point being like, should this be working or not working? What's going on here? I'm not going to say it's incredibly buggy. It definitely feels like some of the bolts are loose as the machine is churning away, right? And you're like, ooh, is this gonna hold together?
We're gonna fly off the road here.
Yeah. Let's be real. They weren't gonna fix all the bugs in this game in one patch, or even
or three.
I'm guessing the bugs they have fixed so far, given the complexity of this game and the state that it launched in. Like, the bugs they fix so far are just so they can fix the bugs, you know?
Yeah.
It's like they got to fix these bugs so they can fix the other bugs. It's probably going to be a while.
Yeah, and like, you know, they're also adding in new content, and changing some things around, which who knows if that even adds more stuff to it, right? More layers of complexity to the game. But I still adore that game. I still think it is fantastic. I got past the parts that were felt very stressful to me in terms of ticking clock quests. So now I'm just kind of sitting back and mopping up a bunch of stuff and just kind of letting the poop fly and land where it does. Right? I walk in on this party and maybe I didn't get my best roll. Got to kill everyone. That's just kind of the way this is going now. We're focusing on moving on. I am trying to wrap up all my side character quests before I initiate the end-to-end game. That's just generally RPG wise where I feel like I need to be. You know, everybody knows your companion quests are always the coolest things in the game. So I'm going to try and get through those. But 100+ hours in, it's a long game. I want to wrap that one up, and maybe that might push Against the Storm into some other less played bucket for a little bit. But I did want to try it out because it does come out of early access in a couple of days here. And I know people have been like, you need to try this game, especially on the heels of SteamWorld Build. And it does seem cool. I'm just looking up, I think Microsoft or Larian gave the release date or gave a date for the reveal. Is it the Game Awards where they're going to reveal the release date for the Xbox version?
Oh, did they say that?
I think they did. I'm looking it up because when I checked it out, because we were talking, I think it was last episode about what are they going to announce? And I was like, maybe Baldur's Gate 3. And I think they had confirmed they would give the date.
And that date is now.
Or not. That date, no.
Probably not.
No, I think it's going to be announced at the Game Awards, which, if you're listening to this, you might already know.
It's true.
It says, the game is on track for a December release. We'll see you at the Game Awards for the world premiere of the release date. So maybe it is now. Maybe they will say it is available now on Game Pass.
Not now, then soon.
So if you're looking for that game, you'll get a pretty good version of it on the Xbox, but maybe not the perfect version of it on the Xbox.
I think it's just the S that doesn't have the co-op, right?
That's as my understanding is they couldn't get that,
it, right?
Yeah, they couldn't get that local co-op to work on there.
Yeah, what I mean is they're not axing it for the whole Xbox platform, just the S, right?
No, that's, I think, the weird compromise they made to get rid of parity between the two systems was they just said, forget it, man. Just get this thing out the door. Go.
Rules are meant to be broken.
I'm waiting to see, maybe once this is out, if they will put cross play on the roadmap. I don't think it is on any roadmap right now, but it would be nice to play across platforms with that game, especially if you have multiple copies of it, like I do.
If it were any other developer, I would say no, but who knows with them and the way
you would say no to crossplay.
I mean, if it was your average developer, I would be like, they're gonna fix bugs, they're gonna do whatever they're doing now, and then they'll move on. But like a developer like Larian, I could actually maybe see them in like 6 months or a year from now, just being like, hey, by the way, now there's crossplay.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I keep checking to see. Last I checked, it wasn't on a roadmap, so we'll see.
In a world where CD Projekt was like, hey, 2.0 is the last big Cyberpunk update. We're overhauling half of the game. This is the game that we should have shipped in the first place.
Yeah.
We're done. And then today, 2.1 is coming out with a whole fucking list of new gameplay stuff they're adding. It's like, you guys just said you were done
Games are
with
never
this game.
done.
It's never over.
And now here is like a functional rail system in the game.
I do wonder with Baldur's Gate 3, and again, maybe this is out there, but I when I looked at the roadmap not too long ago, it wasn't what their content, like their sellable content plans are versus, bug fixing at this point. I'm sure they want to get all these versions out there, patch up as much as they can, and then somebody in the background is working on the next piece of content to sell. That this game did very well. People are probably hungry for more of it, or classes or content packs or whatever. Another game that's out there that came pretty recommended was a Highland song. Do you guys hear about this one at all?
I have heard about this one.
What a pleasant game.
I've heard the term walking simulator, but like a different spin on that kind of thing. An exploration simulator.
Like a running and jumping and climbing.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely gameplay there. It's got a rhythm game in it, as you might guess from the kind of a Highland song, where you when you are traversing, you can kind of kick into this rhythm game that keeps your stamina up as you're running. Basically, if you kind of keep nailing the rhythm of the song that's going throughout the highlights. You play as this kid Moira. It is very Scottish. Like, it is adorable, and I don't just mean to I'm not trying to belittle the Scottish people as adorable.
Kind of sounds like you are,
but my gosh, does it just make your heart melt? Like it is. It is she is a fantastic character, and it is all the Scottishisms are just amazing. A lot of just arse. If you slide down the mountain the wrong way.
Again, there is no accent I love being yelled at more in than the Scottish one, so
it's great. It's like if you need a thing to take your mind off of stuff for a while, this game seems to be the ticket. It is Moira's just kind of traversing the hills of Scotland, it seems like, and you're climbing, running, jumping, but picking up pieces of narrative along the way. As you're doing it. It's kind of a 2D. I should mention that it's kind of a 2D left to right game. You go into the background a bit, but you don't kind of control the character as you proceed into the background. So you're kind of mostly navigating left and right as you're exploring the Highlands, let's say. I mean, it is called a Highland song.
Yeah.
And I think trying to get to your uncle's lighthouse but the characterization is great. The environments are great. The music is fantastic. The voice acting is awesome. It's just a really charming game.
Nice.
I think the gameplay so far, in terms of controlling the climbing, it's not like the best of anything. It's not the draw, I would say, but the sense of exploration is pretty good. Like you'll get stuff on your map where you're like, hey, can you find this point in the screen? Basically, it's like a little handwritten thing, and you can kind of mark it and try and explore. And it does seem like there are different paths you can take to kind of get Moira to progress on her quest. So
okay,
that's a Highland song that is on the Switch and PC. It's $18. I should mention Against the Storm also $30. Seems pretty good. I don't know how long it is. I read it was not very long. But I'm really enjoying it so far.
Cool.
Alex.
Yeah.
There's a new mode in Vampire Survivors.
Yes, here checking in as your Vampire Survivors reporter. They announced this, I want to say a couple weeks ago, this adventure mode that they have added. In addition to adding that today, they also announced there's new DLC coming later this month that is Among Us themed.
Okay.
I saw that.
Yeah, so that's kind of wild. That is a paid DLC, and that is going to include a bunch of new characters, weapons, and all that fun stuff. This is not new content in the sense that it is not adding new levels, so they do add one new character that you can unlock. But it is actually a completely standalone thing from the main game progression. you go into this adventure mode once you unlock it, and there are these different campaigns that are sort of like there, and each one takes levels from the game that are already there and remixes them. They limit the number of characters you can use at this outset. You can add more as you achieve the objectives that they give you. Same thing with the weapons. You start out with a limited number of weapons available, and then you start unlocking those by going to different merchants and then paying to unlock them, or etc. And they call it story focused. I'm going to say that at least in the few that I've played through so far, the story is, I mean, it's about as much story as you could ever possibly expect from from this game. Like, there is some like setup in the description of the mission you're about to jump into that's like, oh, this one character wants to think about the old days, back when all he did was run around in the forest and collect as much garlic as possible. So it's more like setup, it feels like, than anything else. That maybe there's more once I actually beat one of the campaigns, I don't know, but
yeah, that always felt like a game that tells its story through like level descriptions and stuff like that. Like, I mean,
its story,
very implied story
is less of a story and more a series of gags and punchlines and references. Like, there's a fair amount of detail if you go into the grimoire and talk about, or whatever, the bestiary, and read about all the different characters and stuff. But the story is more of a gas than anything else. It's not the draw here by any stretch. The main thing is that this is a way for you to go in and play a bunch of stuff with specific objectives in mind, separate from the main game, assuming, like me, you have spent way too much time playing all the other stuff already. And so the progression in this is completely separate from anything involving the main game. It's completely siloed off.
So is it kind of narratively forcing you into builds, like you said, like you're going to get a big garlic-based build?
Yeah, like they start you with the first character you have available is the guy, the old man, who's the garlic is the default weapon. And then you get like a few other weapons that are just there available to you, but you have to work, play a bunch before you can unlock the other stuff and have that available to you in the random generation. And yeah.
I'm sorry, so the adventure stuff is free, right? It's just the Among Us stuff that's paid?
Yes, and that's out, I think, the 18th. This is out today.
I feel like,
is it cool?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, is it good?
I think it's novel, if nothing else, and it's free, so I'm not exactly going to sit here and complain about it.
Sure.
I don't think it's really like, it's more of a, hey, if you've already been playing a ton of this game and you're just looking for a different flavor of the same thing, yes, this is a good addition and something that I think people will have fun with. If you were hoping for something more involved, more of a campaign than like just some remixes of levels, then it's not that, but I wasn't expecting more than this, and I think I'm getting basically what I was hoping for, more or less.
Okay.
Brad, were you about to ask?
I was just going to say, does it feel like people don't talk about Among Us that much anymore?
We're not 16, so I'm not sure we're in those conversations.
Yeah, that's fair. Maybe it is actually still widely played. Like, I'm resisting just doing the thing of going, oh, the Steam concurrents are down.
I don't know. That number's kind of sus.
Possibly.
There you go. Oh, so you have been hanging out with 16-year-olds.
Yeah, they definitely are talking about it.
Those people are like 22 now.
Yeah, it's fair.
I think that
game still does well. I imagine they are nowhere near the peak of their popularity, but like as far as I know, they are still putting out content for that game. They're still working on it, and people still play it.
Yeah, I'm sure it was never going to maintain the like insane cultural phenomenon numbers that they did at the beginning of the pandemic.
Yeah.
There are plenty of inflatable Among Us costumes I saw this Halloween.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Maybe
you recycle those. I don't know. Maybe you don't get rid of that one.
That is probably the actual best cultural barometer for how popular still is this thing, is how many kids are still dressing up like it.
My kids were a little too young to get into Among Us during its
heyday.
peak. Yeah, but people definitely still talk about it, and they still reference it, but the trickle-down coolenomics of middle school, as you know, there's a bit of a delay there. High school is getting it first, middle school, and then the elementary
They're at the
school.
vanguard.
Yeah, so the middle school, they're a little behind. That is the Vampire Survivors Adventure Mode free on every...
For you, the consumer.
Everywhere? Like, is it on
as far
all
as I know, yeah.
Okay. All the billions of platforms it is now on?
And I will just remind everyone, this is Vampire Survivor, so if you do download the patch, you still have to unlock the adventure mode. It literally is just go into the boss rash stage and then collect the artifact that shows up about 7 minutes in, and then it's like, cool, you have adventure mode now, bye.
That's, the way they handle DLC has always been a little weird to me. I mean, it's cool and makes sense with the way they design things, but they very much do not go out of their way to say, hey, here's how to do the thing.
Yeah.
Well, I guess my biggest question for you, Alex, does that mean that you have no longer 100%ed?
Yes. They've officially knocked me off my pedestal. I have been taken off my high horse.
All right. Sounds like you got more things to tick off.
Vampire Survivors deflation is a thing.
It's fine, man. I mean, I was looking for an excuse to continue to waste my life playing this game. So by all means, give me another one.
Love it. All right. That is Vampire Survivors. Again, that is the free adventure mode available now. Anything else you guys want to get to before we get to the news?
I did start playing the American Truck Simulator Kansas DLC. I am not making a big thing about that here because it's Kansas.
What?
Look, Kansas is every place has got its ups and downs, right?
Okay. Let's be real about this. When you are driving cross country, what is the part of the drive everyone dreads?
New York City.
No, I'm talking cross country.
When you've left the coast,
the very dead middle of the country. I am talking the Kansas-Nebraska dead zone. I am not speaking ill of the people who live there. I'm not saying there's nothing there, but as a place to drive through, it is about as flat and uninteresting a looking place as there has ever been on this earth.
So you're saying, as it pertains to a game in which you drive a truck through areas, you're saying it. I'm not saying there's
nothing. I'm just saying that so far my initial impression is, yep, that's what I remember Kansas looking like.
Is it a discounted piece of DLC?
Have you been to Lawrence?
Yeah. I mean, look. Again, I'm not trying to say there's nothing there to see. There are things. They've given you attractions to look at. I haven't looked at them all yet. But they are unfortunately in this position now where they are stuck in this section of the country as they are building out their most recent DLC. So like Nebraska and Arkansas are, I believe, the next ones on the pipeline.
Okay.
And I'm just saying, it's not that those states should not be in the game. Of course they should. These are not the most exciting states to be offering ever.
You know, at least Kansas has got some variation in its state borders. You know, at least it's not a perfect rectangle.
Yeah.
At least it's got some personality on the map. You know, it's not Wyoming.
Sure.
What are you hauling in your initial? Do you remember what you picked up?
Oh, I don't know. Probably just some fucking empty boxes or something. You know, some loose pallets. What I just grabbed a thing and drove, and that was it.
Fair enough.
I did download also their farm equipment DLC, so now I can haul farm equipment, but I haven't done that yet.
Did you get a chance to set up your wheel yet? Your driving wheel?
No, I have it. The real thing I need to do in here is actually just clear off some desk space and just hook that thing up because I haven't done it yet.
Right.
It's there. I see it. It's sitting right across the room. It's here. It can be plugged in.
Kansas is the time.
Something's got to make it more interesting.
Sit back and put on cruise control and just turn on manual.
They were always going to come to this place. There was always going to be this lull while they were putting stuff out that is unfortunately the least interesting parts of the country, but what are you going to do? And this is not a diss on the entire Midwest. I am speaking very specifically of the corn basket.
Look, I think you're well within your means to say in a driving game,
yes,
driving in a straight line through fields with on either side of you.
The endless stretches of Kansas.
Yeah. Look, it's probably great if driving stresses you out. I'd take that over driving a truck through New York City or San Francisco. That to me seems impossible.
We're a long way away from New York City. A lot of states still got to happen.
What's the closest they've gotten to a major metropolitan city?
Well, I mean, LA and San Francisco and all the West Coast cities are there, Vegas.
They are. So they have California as one big pack?
They're all the way up to Kansas, man. So everything from there west is in the game now.
Oh, I don't think I realized they're working their way west to east.
Yes, they are.
I see. Okay.
And sometimes south to north, but it's Montana is there, Texas is there, all that stuff is there.
I see. Okay. So yeah, as they kind of reach the East Coast, it's going to get kind of gnarly.
I think they're probably gonna have to bunch a few of those New England states together into one DLC. I don't think you can get away with charging $11.99 for Rhode Island. I don't think you can do that.
Maybe it's dense. I don't know.
I don't think you could get away with charging $11.99 for actual Rhode Island, let alone a DLC version of it.
Boy, just tearing people from Rhode Island, Kansas.
Rhode Island's not a real state.
Man.
It's
tough.
not. It's not even an island.
Man, is it a road?
No.
Not that kind of.
Man, it's nothing.
Just out here making enemies today. I don't know.
Yep.
But it's in small population states, so it won't be that many.
Great.
Yes, only a few million people will be against you.
That's fine.
Is Rhode Island, are they live free or die?
No, that's New Hampshire.
That's New Hampshire. Okay, what's a Rhode Island?
Again, no one knows. It's a thing you have to drive through when you're driving between Massachusetts and Connecticut. That's about it.
The motto of Rhode Island is hope.
Hope. There you go.
Yeah, hope that you remember it exists.
Man. I'm looking up.
Couldn't even do it in Latin.
Don't even get me started on Delaware. Jesus Christ.
Trying to see if the Rhodes piano has any relation to Rhode Island, but it does not. It is Harold Rhodes. Tried Rhode Island. Let's all go to Rhode Island.
Didn't take.
Look, Rhode Island.
I know some nice people in Providence. I'm not saying that, again, that there's nothing there. I'm just saying we were really giving out statehood willy-nilly for a while there, weren't we?
But you got, is it RISD, right?
Yeah.
Brown. I think there's some culinary schools in Rhode Island. Hotel management, I know that. I know those schools are there. Big university towns.
Yeah.
It's happening.
I mean, look, realistically, if I had to pick, I'd rather be in Rhode Island than Delaware.
Those are the two choices.
Those are your two choices.
Wow.
One is a place where you incorporate. The other is Rhode Island.
We're going to take a break. We're going to come back with the news. Stick around. And we are back. And got some news here. Even like the big video game news feels like tinged with a bit of sadness these days, you know? It's like, you know, the celebratory big announcement stuff also came with a bunch of people super bummed out about it. And by the people bummed out about it, mostly the people inside of Rockstar who had worked for a very long time and were looking for finally a showcase of their GTA trailer together with the world. But of course, that's not how it all went down.
No.
Brad Shoemaker, do you know exactly where this started? I saw when I was looking into this, there was a bit of a leak and then a bigger leak, right?
Are you talking about the trailer leak, or are you talking about the asset leak from like last year?
No, I'm talking about the like a couple of seconds or whatever of video that was like shared on TikTok or something, and then the bigger leak and then the full release, right? Is that the order of events?
The stuff that was getting shown on TikTok was more like shots off of a screen of like photos off of a screen is what I saw going around.
And that's the purported
like shots
son of an employee?
That was what I got from it.
Okay.
But there wasn't time to even look into what was going on with those leaks before the whole damn trailer leaked.
Yeah.
Except with a giant Bitcoin or a big cryptocurrency watermark right in the middle of it. Which, if it were anybody other than Rockstar and you told me that was actually just viral marketing for this thing, I would believe it. Because that feels right in line with the kind of satire that Grand Theft Auto does.
So at that point, as far as I could understand, Rockstar said, well, if this crappy version's going to be out there, we might as well put the official one up ahead of schedule.
It's crazy to watch this stuff happening, like not just these leaks around this trailer, but also the crazy dev leak from months or a year ago. Because Rockstar is one of the most buttoned up, secretive companies in the entire industry. Like, if they can't keep the stuff secret, nobody can, man. It's crazy to think how much has gotten out about this game before they officially announced it.
I mean, there is I think it sucks. Let me just say that. I think it fucking sucks for these people to not to have their moment to release this trailer. But I think it also for Rockstar, kind of like Valve in a way, if they were talking about something Half-Life, this is a very anticipated game. This game will do record-breaking numbers. There's a reason, I think, why this is targeted or this gets out there and just explodes, right? Like ahead of time, because a GTA, the next GTA game is like video game gold, right? Like that is,
Yes.
There is no way this thing doesn't break records. There's no way this thing isn't hotly anticipated. The number of outlets doing their GTA 6 trailer report broke the internet. Like, you just couldn't find anything.
It almost makes you think it's time for some new philosophy of promoting things.
Maybe.
Like, I feel like this old style of just keeping things secret and having your big gala announcement is maybe not possible anymore.
Maybe. Or especially in the age where people are just filming things off screens with a phone or something, like whatever happened here, or how these assets got out. Either way, the trailer is now officially out, and we can talk about it through official means. It looks pretty good.
That's very good looking video game.
Yeah.
That is some like a man, the next generation is here stuff.
I mean,
yeah.
Okay, here's what I will say, what I will give, and what I will criticize. What I will give is that they are absolutely still as good as it gets when it comes to environmental detail, like world design, lighting, animation, all that stuff. Like, everything they show in this trailer looks fantastic. Are the character models the highest res I've ever seen in my life? No, but they're expressive, they look good, and they definitely get the point across. Only thing I'm going to criticize here is that they really are leaning into this. Wow, look at how crazy Florida is. It's extremely. Florida man after Florida man. Here you go.
Extremely. I mean, I feel like the technical polish, technical achievement, whatever, is a totally separate conversation from, like, what are they doing with the writing and tone and setting of this game? Because, like that succession of like fake Instagram stories in here, just like one Florida nut job after another. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I mean, so some of those are direct references to actual videos of like crazy Florida people.
Like kind of a shocking number of them, actually. I saw a Twitter thread going around where like 8 or 10 of these are like quite literally recreated from real life, almost verbatim.
And their Florida is Leonida? Is that their
I guess that is what it's called. I always think of it as Vice City. I never actually think about what it's actually called.
I think Vice City is the city.
It is. Yeah, that's the Miami
correct,
stand-in.
Did they name their Florida finally? Like that? Is that new for this game?
I'm not sure. I only found it out because one of the handles on one of those fake Instagram videos or whatever it is Leonida Man or Planet Leonida Man, and I was like, oh, you're clearly just doing Florida Man.
Riffing on that, yeah.
It looks like, I just Googled it. It looks like, I mean, there are people asking, like, what is Leonida in GTA 6? So I guess that is a new term that people are debating. It's not 100% sure what that is yet, because, like, originally they just named the cities for the first, was it San Andreas was the first one where they started talking, like, fake state names? I think.
I don't remember when they got their fake ones.
San Andreas was when they first started actually trying to name states.
But yeah, I think Leonida is their Florida. Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure it is. I mean, in the trailer, the captions reference Leonida a lot. Only in Leonida is a crotch grab and apology for bad driving.
Yeah, so, that sounds like Florida.
Yeah.
General Custard Cannon on his fake whatever social media thing is. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm not sure what I was expecting, but this feels about right. You know?
That's about my attitude toward it as well.
Like, tonally, technically, this seems about right. I'm curious.
Yeah, I mean, like that in and of itself is a story here, right? Because that was the big question. Now that like the Dan Houser brain trust is out of the company, like the people who, at least by all appearances, were kind of the driving creative force behind this. It's like, hey, were they going to take things in a different direction? It does not seem like it.
No.
Well, I mean, from this minute and a half. Like we don't know.
We're trying to divine a lot from very little actual detail in this trailer, and what detail there is mostly just kind of reiterating what we basically knew, which is that this is a story of what appears to be a somewhat Bonnie and Clyde couple in Florida. They mostly focus on what is it, Lucia?
Lucia.
Yeah, the woman character. The guy only gets like one line, and that's kind of it.
Has he been named yet? I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
I think it was in a leak. I think his name was Jason in one of the leaks, but who knows?
Okay.
Like from that gameplay leak. But that could be, placeholder, who knows?
Yeah. But yeah, like, there's not a lot of detail here, is what we're saying. Like, we're basically just kind of guessing based on what is, sort of what little detail there is. And what the little detail there is, hey, look, here's a really nice looking environment that we're going to go do GTA shit in.
Yeah, it's a tone piece. I went back and watched the GTA 4 and 5 reveal trailers as well, and it's very consistent with those. It's very much about establishing not just the look of things, but also kind of what the tone's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that GTA 4 reveal is incredibly somber. Like it's all about Nico coming to America. Like it's trying to escape a life of crime kind of stuff. Like extremely different from the type of tone this is striking.
Yeah.
I think what we do know is this game is not slated to come out until 2025.
That actually is like the most interesting thing to me. Is that like
the lead time here?
Well, the lead time, and it's not that it's not a crazy amount of time by any stretch for like a normal game like this to be announced and say, okay, this is about how long it's going to be before you actually get to play it. It's just that with Rockstar in recent years, they have not been doing long wind-ups for their stuff. Granted, they have not put out very many games since GTA 5 came out. It was Red Dead, basically. But, I think we kind of, all of us agreed, we were kind of thinking like, okay, maybe like sometime middle of next year, that would probably be coming around if this is when the trailer's hitting. And no, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, although, it could be early 2025. It could be March or something.
Yeah.
So it could be like a year and change away, or it could be a full 2 years. I don't know.
Yeah. Yes, they have not said exactly when. The other thing, this was not as big a surprise, but it is not coming to PC at the time of its initial release. At least, look, we're still a year and change away. Maybe that'll change, but I doubt it. They don't. They hadn't done that in the past.
Yeah, they can make so much money reselling this game.
Yeah, and so it's slated for PS5 and Xbox X and S, but of course, because I know that's the way it goes. But it'll be, it'll be curious to see what the state of the PlayStation 5, Xbox X base is when this comes out, or if this will be a thing for a lot of people that might move those consoles or get them to shift over, as I highly doubt this will ever make its way to anything. I think consider the PS4 and, unavailable for this game.
Last gen is last gen now.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So I assume this will probably push a lot of people who have been holding out into that camp by the time this game comes out, if they aren't there already. Especially since it won't be on a PC. A lot of people like that Grand Theft Auto.
I've heard that.
I've heard that, yes.
Yeah. Nothing in here about online stuff. Nothing in here about the state of GTA Online at all. I think it's cool. It's got me curious. I don't know if they could have put a thing out that would have made me not curious, but I think having it in Florida with the swamp stuff is okay. Like, I don't know. Depends what they're going. Like, again, like we talked about it before when they said they were going to announce something in December. I really am mostly interested to see what is their 2025 now tightrope they are going to be walking in terms of tone on this thing, right? Like, which way are they going to lean, one way or the other? How are they going to navigate this? Because it's been a long time since GTA put out, or since a GTA game came out, and I feel like they don't always age well. And like we've said plenty of times, there's new direction in there, new writing in there. So that'll be I, along with many, many others, will be waiting to see.
I mean, Vice City and Florida is the one thing they haven't done in the modern era. Like, they only have their 80s spin on that so far. So, it makes sense that they would go this direction and this is where they would focus things. I hope they have something more than just a long series of Florida Man jokes.
Oh yeah, extreme same on that. But, they do have this like core crime story that seems, from the little bits we see of it, like fairly serious.
Yeah.
Hopefully. And like, I know I've said this, like Alex, I think you probably feel the same way. Like Red Dead Redemption 2 is like their best written game by a mile.
Yes.
To me. So maybe we're in a new era of writing in Rockstar games. I don't know.
I mean, we'll see, like based on what we have here, we have a abundance of social media riffs. So, we'll see how that all plays out too.
Yeah, like there's a bunch of frame grabs all over Twitter of like billboards and like, little advertisements, people seizing on little things to try to tease out what the tone of their humor is going to be and their satire.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely feels consistent with the stuff they've done before. This billboard with an antidepressant called Angstapan that says it cures emotions. It's definitely some Grand Theft Auto tier.
Yep.
Humor.
Well, you didn't get any radio station stuff in the trailer either.
No, but man,
a very good Tom Petty song.
Tom Petty is a hell of a good choice for a reveal trailer like this.
And they are definitely keeping their, tradition of, yes, we are getting these big artists but we are not necessarily picking their most famous songs, except for where it makes sense, because they really love going deep into catalogs wherever they can.
Brad, I will say in some of the stuff I saw, the people out there are saying no full ray tracing, at least in some of the scenes they have seen. After the debate of whether the Instagram-ish videos are even real time or not, the general vibe was the gameplay was real time, and then but not with some missing shadows, let's say, kind of tipping the people off. So.
Yeah, the ray tracing performance is pretty limited on these consoles, so you could see that maybe sneaking its way into the PC version at some point.
2032, when the PC version comes out. Yeah, that's big news. Set the world afire. I wonder if Keighley was after this in any kind of talks for the Game Awards, or if that was never even on the table. I mean, they're so close together, this reveal of the Game Awards.
I wonder if just the desire for secrecy would have maybe made that a non-starter. It's like once you involve yourself with an external body doing an award show, like that thing has to pass through even more hands to get on air. You're
giving a file to somebody and clearing it. And
clearly that didn't help in this case.
No.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we'll ever hear publicly how it leaked, but I would love to know.
Again, I think thinking about everybody having this date in mind to watch the internet internally at Rockstar, that's a bummer. I'm sure they want to see the world react and not this kind of scattershot reaction, and see this thing slowly leaking its way across the internet.
Yeah, like it goes back and forth. Some people are like, hey, it's a corporation marketing a product. Like, why are you mad this leaked? Who cares? But then there's also like quite a few of the developers on the ground making this game seem pretty bummed that it went down the way it did. So I do feel bad for them.
Yep. As GTA 6 trailer, you think we get much more, if any more, between now and like the end of 2024 or 2025? You think we get like an E3-ish thing?
I don't remember what they do about successive trailers after the reveal.
They did character ones, and they do like character bios.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
like I think I mentioned recently, like I went to see 5 in a hotel room before it came out, and watched a very well rehearsed live demo played in front of me of it. But I don't know if they'll be doing stuff like that for this one.
I wonder if we'll hear about the state of the online, whatever it is, before much before release. If they're going to revamp that stuff,
I think they'll talk about it. I think they have to. Well, unless it's not going to be in at release again. Like that's actually a big question, because online was not in the release at 5, but that was also their first big online mode. I'm trying to remember, how did Red Dead 2's online wasn't fully there either at launch, right?
I don't know if anybody would ever say they got fully in there.
I think I remember that being opened up later.
I also remember that.
So they might have something similar planned here where it actually isn't there at launch.
Let's move on from GTA 6 to the other epic gorilla in the room.
The other biggest game in the world.
Fortnite is, I don't know, rebooting and cataclysmizing, ending one thing, beginning three other things. They had, are they calling it the Big Bang event? Is that also because they went back to their old map that had the Big Bang before, and then they had this big live event. I think it was the Big Bang again.
That's what they call the events.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if that's also like the name of the season. I've completely lost track of how they handle their seasons.
I think it's the quote unquote the end event where the world gets destroyed.
The reset.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think they redid some of that from the first time they did it, but this time it was a live event. Apparently not everybody could get into it because the servers got swamped. But look, this is a very popular game.
Yeah.
So people could watch it live. It looked kind of cool. I was watching the video of it. And then after the cataclysmic event, it then went into basically a kind of whirlwind tour, promotional tour of their different new properties or added modes, I guess is a better way to say it. Let's just recap quickly here before we go into the modes. Epic bought Harmonix.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they did.
Epic bought Psyonix. They love things that end in X. And they had a deal with Lego going. So, by
the way, I'd like to announce, as of today, we are officially rebranding to Nextlanders.
Mm-hmm. Finally, I've been demanding this for months.
So they now are showing the fruits of those purchases / collaborations. Let's start with their maybe their weirdest one, I'll say for me, which was their racing one, which is their racing game, which is built by Psyonix, which is the Rocket League people. They showed weird racing, like Trackmania style-ish racing.
Yeah, Rocket Racing also. The makers of Rocket League making a new racing mode. They called it Rocket Racing.
So, like, I mean, this is all kind of like pre-rendered stuff. I don't know how this is going to play out when they get going. Or I shouldn't say pre-rendered, but canned. I don't know if it's actually pre-rendered. But I don't know. There's a racing game, going to be a racing game in Fortnite. Like stunt track style racing.
See, I'm not surprised that they are just leaning into the Rocket League aspect of it, because if you look at the little bit of footage they showed of the Harmonix festival mode, that's just a Rock Band note lane.
Yeah. Let's talk about that one. That was so they showed they then leave the rocket racing and they go into an Eminem concert, which looks like some of the other live events they've done in the past. But this time there is an interactive note lane that comes up, which Alex, like you said, just pretty much looks like a note lane. Although a pretty watered down note lane in this thing they show. Not exciting.
But that's the thing, is that I think with Harmonix and with the Psyonix stuff, I don't think they're giving you the next latest bestest version of the thing that you know them from. It feels like it is really just like, okay, we bought you, we have the thing that you do, just do the thing you do, but it has to be in Fortnite.
Yeah, like the note lane they show is a 4-lane note lane with no button prompts or anything like that, so it's pretty hard to tell even what you'd be doing, but you are trying to sync up something while Eminem spits game and then becomes a Godzilla-like character and, I don't know, breathes fire. And
the Weeknd is also isn't the Weeknd the first one they're rolling out?
They are. And I think that might be part of my muted response to this whole thing, because every time the Weeknd is involved in something, I feel nothing for it. And that's kind of how I feel about this, is I'm looking at this and I'm going, I'm very glad the folks at Harmonix did not get laid off and they are in fact getting to make stuff. This is doing nothing for me.
I think the Weeknd's like this weekend, right?
Aha!
Nice.
I think it's the 9th? Yeah, that's Saturday, or I believe is when the weekend is. Are you going to download Fortnite and play that?
No.
Okay.
It's free, right?
It is free. I mean, I have Fortnite downloaded. Maybe I'll check it out at some point if it looks neat, but I don't know, man. Like, I don't need a watered down version of Rock Band. I have spent too much money on actual Rock Bands, including some Weeknd songs that are in this. I don't know what this is going to do for me that I can't already do. This is not for me anyway.
Yeah, maybe there will be some twist on that formula, but it doesn't seem like it from what they've shown so far.
And So I don't know much about this, but these are when they had done these in the past, these live events, they are indeed timed live events you need to get
Yes,
into.
they were.
Generally, I think that's right.
Okay. Everybody kind of joins in, but it's not a live performance. It's just a live event because it's all, I assume the performance is canned and then they do all the animations and stuff.
Don't think it's a live.
No, I don't think so. Like a lot of games do this now. Like I don't know if you remember the Game Awards last year. They announced. Do you remember Sky Children of the Light?
You're asking a lot of me, Brad.
That game company, Genova Chin, like they're kind of social. It's like that game. It's a kind of a spiritual Journey successor, except social.
Okay, yes, that is ringing a bell now.
Looks very much like Journey.
Okay. Yes.
Anyway, they did a similar one of those in-game concert-y kind of things with the vocalist Aurora. So I jumped in on that last year after the Game Awards. I was like, I should see what one of these things is like, and it's very much a pre-recorded thing. Like it's very much it's a audio-visual experience with songs lined up and stuff. And in their case, it lasted like a month or something.
But in like for this, it's like the thing is like we're all sharing this thing together, right? Live, like okay, this experience together. If you can get in, I guess. So that's the Harmonix part, or at least what they've showed of the Harmonix part. I mean, I think like you said, Brad, this stuff is rolling out. This event happened. What was the second last week sometime? So this thing
last Saturday.
Yeah. So this stuff is I think coming in, and then there's the Lego stuff, which seemed like. Maybe some kind of Lego Minecrafty survival-y
building thing. I was trying to figure out who's making that one, and I'm not sure if they've said.
Lego. It's Lego people.
I mean, it used to be what was Traveler's Tales made a lot of that stuff, didn't they?
Well, they made those Lego all the billion actual, like Star Wars and
like a bunch of those Lego games.
But this is not that. This
no,
is
obviously not.
This just says long-term partnership between Epic and the Lego group, so maybe it's just Epic internal. I mean, Psyonix and Harmonix are also kind of Epic internal, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So it seems like, at least from what they showed, it did not seem like this is Fortnite with Lego. It seemed like this was kind of more crafting and people on a beach at least doing something. They showed the character paragliding around and just looking at stuff being built on a beach. But maybe there's more to it. Could be neat. Again, all of this stuff could be cool. It's actually kind of interesting to see them exploring other avenues inside what is now becoming a platform.
It's extremely a platform. They integrated the Unreal Engine tools with Fortnite some time ago, I think last year or sometime. If you Google UEFN, that's like Unreal Editor for Fortnite. And they are very much pushing like, hey, you can make new games in Fortnite and sell them. Like that's very much a business they're trying to get going. And I don't know if any of these were like made with those tools or if these are more deeply hooked into the game. But
so it is interesting you say that because at the very end of this trailer they show is it Fortnite guy? I don't know if he has a name, but he's looking at a multiverse, right, of all these different things connected together. And I wonder if that's Brad, what they're promoting there of like more to come. Like you jump in and out of any of these games Roblox style and kind of explore the Fortnite universe.
Everybody's just fucking chasing Roblox.
Because the end of that trailer shows like just all these other universes basically going by, which maybe that just is more to come here in their grand plan. In this Big Bang event stuff, not a lot of like what the next season of actual Fortnite is, though that would be lost on me anyway because I don't really keep up narratively.
Solid Snake's there and Peter Griffin.
Oh God, how did we forget?
Yeah,
they put a nerfed Solid Snake in there.
Nerfed
a very flat-assed Solid Snake.
How dare they?
They nerfed his ass, is what you're saying?
Yes, they did.
And a buff Peter Griffin.
Yeah, like the theory for why he's buff is that they need that model to conform to the normal Fortnite like character proportions.
Sure.
So they just decided to make him buff.
I don't know. Peter needs to fit in the vehicles, whatever happens in Fortnite. Look, the three of us are not Fortnite experts, but
speak for yourself.
We are experts in the video game industry, and whatever Epic is doing here, it seems to be weird. Not typical just doing the next, season of a battle royale. So whether this pans out for them, I don't know. Who can tell? Do we go back to Fortnite Battle Royale in a year? Fortnite has a very large mind share, let's say.
Nope. We're going back to Fortnite Save the World.
Is that even still around?
I'm pretty sure you can still play it.
Or should I build that in their Epic tools, in their
yes,
Unreal
you should
tools?
go rebuild Save the World in the Epic tools, and then surprise, it's going to blow up and become the biggest thing in the world.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow, look at this! This kind of like build them game.
I think you can still play Save the World. I actually don't know.
I thought it was still in there and still had people going in. Again, I haven't booted up Fortnite since probably I played with Abby. Yeah, anyway, that's Fortnite doing things, making waves.
Mm-hmm.
Epic making Fortnite and suing people. I don't know. Epic making horrible purchasing decisions and closing things down, suing people, and then having Harmonix put a note lane over Eminem. What do I know?
They do know how to do that.
I mean, they own the patent on that particular kind of note lane, so only they can put that kind of note lane on there.
This next one here was kind of a weird one to see. Again, speaking of things that I personally am not too aware of, but I did not know there was a problem with running Twitch in Korea. And so Twitch is going to, Twitch itself.
Benny, I'm going to be honest with you. It would actually be weirder if you did know that.
Well, I understand. Like, look, there's a huge scene in South Korea for gaming, right? Like,
I'm just saying, I'm not expecting you to be plugged into the vagaries of online bandwidth costs in the nation of South Korea.
So Twitch is going to end their service in South Korea, which is kind of fucking bizarre. I'll just say, like, it's I mean, let's not forget Twitch owned by Amazon.
Yes.
And I don't know, look, again, other things I don't know about, reporting structures within Twitch to Amazon and all of those things. Twitch says, like you said, Alex, the cost is, they just can't make the numbers work. They just cannot make the numbers work in terms of bandwidth. They said they tried to knock their cap down from 1080 to 720p. They tried various
some peer-to-peer stuff.
Yeah,
peer-to-peer video streaming.
Which is what we remember. We talked about that not that long ago. Like,
we did.
But this kind of sucks for South Korean Twitch streamers. It sucks for South Korean Twitch streamers.
Like, they flat out say 10 times more expensive network fees in Korea than most other countries. That's wild. I had no idea.
Yeah, I had no idea. They don't detail what that is, like where those costs come from, what it is that actually applies that stuff, like why the bandwidth there is so expensive. I certainly don't know much about it, but they don't elaborate here. They just say it is, and it's a problem.
They went on to say in their statement that they are going to move their communities to alternative live streaming services, reaching out to several of these services to help with the transition, and will communicate with impacted streamers as those discussions progress. So I assume that is, what's the one you guys mentioned? There's the YouTube streaming, and then what was the Kick?
It was Kick, yeah.
Kick?
I don't know if they have a presence in Korea or not.
I doubt Kick has expanded yet.
I'm guessing there are probably some smaller streaming platforms that exist in Korea primarily that I just don't know about.
Yeah, I looked around to see if there was like a dominant domestic streaming service and couldn't really find much of anything.
Like, I guess this one just stood out to me, A, because like I just don't see it coming, and B, it's a big market to just pull out of.
As far as gaming market goes, I mean, it's probably like, top 5 in Asia for sure, like if not higher.
I mean, I think South Korea, I don't know if they host a lot, Brad, maybe you know more about this, but competitive gaming and kind of, they have a lot of teams that are competitive, right? That come out of South Korea?
Oh yeah, ton.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like South Korea, maybe, it's hard to say like the birthplace of esports. That's probably too reductive, but like almost certainly the place that made esports a national phenomenon.
Didn't you go there with
Yeah.
Drew? Yeah. What was the event?
StarCraft 2 GSL finals.
Yeah. It's just a weird one. I don't know. Like, I mean, I can only take it at face value that they couldn't make the financials work, but still kind of a weird one. Let's move on to this other story here that is, man, this is, with all of the stuff going around, and it's a lot in the game industry this year.
More
I don't
this
know
week.
why, or even this week, but this year been like just a bummer all around, to put it lightly. This Bungie story out of IGN just was, I don't know, depressed the shit out of me.
Yeah, this just dropped like right before we started recording.
So the upshot here, Sony, let's say quote unquote acquired Bungie, but they were basically given autonomy as on paper as kind of a fully independent subsidiary. Apparently that's contingent on them making a certain amount of revenue or making a kind of
hitting certain
profit.
targets.
Yeah, hitting their targets. And they have a board which is kind of split between the Sony side and the Bungie side. And apparently they are falling way short of their expectations. I think they're at 45% of their expectations, according to this IGN story. So that, we had Bungie layoffs not too long ago.
Very recently, like last month.
And apparently, again, it reinforced, and this came out at the time, but I think reinforced by the story, those were Bungie initiated to try and move their line for recouping costs when they're reporting up to Sony. But they will lose basically their autonomy and be absorbed fully by Sony if they do not meet these targets. And it just sounds like inside Bungie, it's bad news.
Yeah.
Like they're cutting programs. There's like hostility inside there. The culture is just kind of, according again to this IGN reporting, sounds really tough, and it sounds heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't follow Destiny closely enough anymore to know why earnings would be in such a precarious state.
So they said they stated their player retention's just fallen off.
Yeah, like I assume the game is just not doing that great, but in terms of do people like, it's so hard to take the temperature from a player base,
right,
of whether they actually like the latest season or not, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because every dedicated fan base just complains incessantly about everything, even as that's all they spend their time doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what the state of the game is. Like I had gotten the sense people were like reasonably happy with where Destiny was at, but
so they have their final shape thing. They delayed that, and Marathon obviously got its delay. They're trying, and then there was layoffs as they are trying to figure out what's going on. In this IGN story, they say if the final shape doesn't do what it needs to do, there will definitely be more layoffs, according to one source here. Yeah, man, I don't know.
Of course, their costs are also up, obviously, with both Marathon and presumably a third game going.
Yeah.
And
So
the live
that's not
service
helping.
stuff is just not hitting the way it once was. People, the economy being what it is, people are like making harder choices about like what they want to throw their money into and their time into. And Destiny's been around a while, and even if the content has generally been, received well enough, I'm not sure well enough is the kind of thing that you can have to keep a game like that going this many years after the fact.
Yeah, that sounds right to me in terms of how old the game is, and yes, it is popular, but not wildly so.
According to this IGN story, I think this is some of the stuff that was just like, man, this is, in addition to the like 100 people that were laid off, they're cutting a lot of benefits. So they have a hiring freeze on. They're reducing travel budgets. This is according to the IGN story again, which talked to people at Bungie. Reducing travel budgets, elimination of holiday bonuses, keeping its annual Bungie Day only virtual, delaying its week-long company, I don't know what this is, but the pentathlon, reducing numerous morale events such as cooking and classes and from monthly to quarterly, pausing or fully ending benefits like annual employee compensation adjustments to meet market rates, new hire lunch program, et cetera, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, that's the stuff that just kills morale and can really you're working so hard there, and you just keep your head above water, and like you're just seeing things get cut and cut and cut and cut. Anyway, that sucks, man.
Yeah, that's rotten. That is not a good place to be. I mean,
especially this soon after the acquisition. It's only been a couple of years.
Right? Yeah. When was it? Like 2022. Like
it closed last summer, I think, and then something like that.
So yeah, I don't know. It's this whole year has been such a nightmare of
cavalcade of that bullshit.
Yeah.
This is a tough situation. I mean, I wonder though. I wonder if people inside the company, whether they would see it as a negative or a positive if Sony were to come in and take over.
According to the IGN story, that like the morale is really low.
Yeah.
But, we don't know the state of Bungie pre this purchase and why they were available for sale, right? Like what the books look like if, they were ready to spin out of existence,
Mm-hmm.
We don't know.
But I also mean maybe how people on the ground see the internal management in terms of their competence, or whether they, assign blame to them for this state of affairs in the first place. So,
according to the story, what did they say? Somebody had a line that was relevant to that sentiment. Folks still are very much feeling us versus them between leadership and workers. One person said that trust has been eroded.
Yeah, that's kind of exactly what I was thinking. That I'm not saying it would be a good thing for Sony to have to come in and gut the place and take over and remake everything or whatever. But it does seem like there may not be a lot of love lost between, there's some animus between workers and current studio management to begin with.
Yeah. I think the general vibe, and I think it states explicitly in here, is that things are falling apart inside.
Yeah, that's rough.
That's rough. And look, Bungie has a history, right, of bouncing around, being independent, not being independent, getting their independence back, I
don't think they'll be pulling that one off again.
It's rough. I mean, these are the people, well, not necessarily the same people, but it's a studio that developed Halo, right? Like, that's
its lineage.
Yeah. It's say what you will about where Halo is now or the franchise in terms of temperature on it, but this is
but that's what we're seeing over and over again. I mean, it hasn't happened that often yet to too many giant studios, ones that have been around for a long, but it really feels like at this point it doesn't really matter what your lineage, it doesn't matter what you made in the past anymore. Like Volition had been around for 30 fucking years and now they're gone. Bungie has been a marquee developer for a very long time, and now they are in this state. And it's not one thing that has led to all of this. It is a lot of different bad decisions, things piling up over the years, bets that didn't pan out, whatever. But, as we're going into the kind of the end of the year here, and we're getting ready to do game of the year discussions and stuff, I'm just I gotta be real. My attitude right now is just there's nothing I want to do less than try and celebrate video games right now. As we are on the eve of the Game Awards here, the idea of just Keeley getting up there and being aren't video games great? It's fuck, no, they're not right now. The product is good, but video games as a culture and an industry is at a low point right now, and it's rough.
Also, so is the world, by the way, also.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to keep it in the scope of what we usually talk about in this podcast, but you're dead right.
Yeah. It's speaking of things falling apart, right?
It's kind of hard to want to celebrate much of anything.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're totally right, Alex. And I think I would feel better if it were go out and go support these studios by buying their games and doing these things, but you're never even sure how that money's getting divvied up and where it's all going in the end and how that stuff goes. Obviously, here Bungie is saying, look, if the final shape does not sell well, we are in dire straits. So there are reporting things there, but
again, hearing a studio like Bungie say those kinds of things, even if it's an anonymous source or not attributed to a direct person, spokesperson, those kinds of words don't come out of a studio like that unless something is really fucking wrong.
Yeah. Yes. I don't know what to say. It's
there isn't anything to say. We've said it so many times this year.
It feels like a bummer of a year, and this story, I don't know why, this one just had smacked of extra extra crap. I don't know. I know there have been bigger layoffs, but this, I don't know. Reading the inside, just kind of gutting of morale and stuff is really tough.
Yeah, I mean, it's just constant. Like the League of Geeks, the developer of Jump Light Odyssey, which is a very cool looking like spaceship life simulator that I've had my eye on, just cut half of their staff.
Yeah.
Just as a random example from yesterday, it just feels like a nonstop march of bad announcements of that nature.
I mean, Alex, you were saying maybe off mic before, but it's like close to 10,000 layoffs.
I think it's over 9,000 now.
Jeez,
and I'm not saying that to be
like
goofy. Like, no, it is actually over. I think 9,000 jobs have been lost this year.
Last I had heard a tally, it was like around 6, and that wasn't that long ago. That's of course that was before, like, for example, Embracer cut like 900 alone. You know,
yeah.
So not hard to see how that number
Embracer, they've all had massive
like that number would go up quickly.
And that's Alex. That's, as far as you know, that's confined to the video game space.
Yeah, I mean, it's people from all different disciplines and aspects of studios. Like,
but that's not general tech.
Yeah, as far as I know, that is video game specific.
Tech number is way higher.
Yeah,
I think like Facebook alone was into 5 digits, right? I think.
I think, yeah.
All right. Well, I hope 2024 has an upswing in this stuff, but
I think that goes without saying. I don't think any of us want things to be going the way they currently are. We all hope for better. We all hope for, more prosperous times. It's just, what's got to give? Like, what's actually going to change? Like, what is the thing that actually puts things back on the right path? It does not feel like anyone has any answers for that yet.
It just feels like they're in this space now. It is, and again, I'm no analyst, but it feels like there's a great winnowing for success, right? Like, the things that are successful are mega successes, and the precipitous fall off after that is like cataclysmic. Like, if you're not in that Fortnite range, right? If you're not in that land where you're just scooping up everything, and we'll see what happens. I mean, Epic's also had layoffs, and so
because they also were making those kinds of bets that did not pan out,
right? And so it's like, but it's not like they're. I assume it's not like they're not making money. I don't know. Well, that's going to do it for the news. The Game Awards are happening on Thursday. We're recording this on Wednesday. They say there are going to be a bunch of announcements. I take them at their word. I'm sure there will be during their 3-hour plus stream of awards and showcases and pieces, and like Alex said, celebration of the games industry. I hope they take a minute to kind of acknowledge that there are a lot of people who have been basically dumped off the ship this year in the games, in the rocky waters of this thing, because like these games don't come out by themselves. People make them.
I hope so, because if Keeley and crew are out there just like getting out there being like, video games, aren't they awesome? Isn't this a great year for games? I can't imagine a worse way to present this stuff in this year.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't take much to say it's been a really rough year in the games industry.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably too much to hope that they'll like moderate the tone of the thing a little bit in general, but you would hope they would at least say something. I mean, there certainly have been plenty of calls for them to address both the
like
bloodbath
crisis,
bloodbath in the games industry, events in the Middle East, like a lot of stuff. Like, it's just kind of.
And Keeley responds by just continuing to tweet his usual tweets about video games and how excited he is.
Yeah. All that said, this is like maybe a weird swerve after the conversation we just had, but I'm going to watch that thing, largely out of professional obligation.
Sure.
Because I want to see all the announcements, and I'm going to have to watch those anyway, and I'm kind of curious to see what tone they strike and stuff, but I am going to hang out in the live events channel on the Discord while I watch that.
Nice.
If people want to come hang out. I did that last year, and that ended up being pretty fun to chat with people about stuff as it was announced, so of course, that's a matter of hours from now if you're listening to this as it goes up on the public feed, so
get in there.
Very possible you missed it, but
Jinx.
There it is.
All right, we're going to move on. Brad Shoemaker, you got an email or two we can get to before we wrap this up?
Yeah. It's been a weird day, but I'll jump in here and grab a couple here. Here's one from SP.
All right.
What is the room? I'm sorry, let me read this as written. What is the room of video games? A poorly executed product from an author made with a lot of heart that has gathered a large cult following. What video game has come the closest in your opinion?
Let's see. Brute Force. A lot of heart.
I've never played Brute Force. Is it really that bad? Like, people like to clown on it a lot. I mean, it's not terrible, is it?
No, it's not terrible. It's serviceable.
Here's where this sort of comparison falls apart a little bit, is that there just isn't a lot of room in video games because the margins are what there are for weirdo outsider artists who don't really know what they're doing to make a complete video game. Like, you can kind of back your way into making something that is a movie-like substance with a song and a prayer, if you know what you're doing. Neil Breen kind of being the ultimate example of that. Video games are a lot more expensive and a lot harder to do, and they're a lot harder to get in front of people unless you're selling it for 99 cents. So it's harder to have these weird auteur, lunatics make video games the way they do. And then, I mean, look, David Cage is still out there, but that's kind of at the macro level of, like, they give that guy millions and millions and millions of dollars to make art that doesn't understand what it's trying to say.
Yeah, like, if those games are at least going to be technically competent, generally. Like, yeah. I think by and large, you're right. I do think we're getting closer to that being a reality between, like, the democratization of, like, game engines and asset stores and storefronts. Like, it is easier to make a game and sell a game than it's ever been. Yeah. So, Lethal Company is a great game. We didn't even talk about Lethal Company. That game is fantastic.
Yeah, we've been playing a little bit of that on stream.
We should play more Lethal Company. But
we could play more Lethal Company this Friday. I asked Abby; she's around.
But that game was made by one person.
Yeah.
So like it is getting possible for that kind of thing to happen. But yeah, like, in film, there's so much more of a culture of work for hire. Of, like, people go from job to job, fulfilling roles on film productions, right? Like, you can hire a DP, you can hire cameramen and an editor and stuff like that. So, like, some lunatic like Tommy Wiseau can get money and just hire people to help him make an insane passion project, right?
Yeah.
Like that doesn't exist in games, is what I mean. Like, you don't necessarily just go, like, go get work for hire people to make your game for you in the same way.
You got another email?
Yeah. This one is anonymous.
Okay. This
is in the wake of the KOTOR trailer stuff. Remember, the trailer got pulled down and they blamed music licensing. This is from someone who would know about that sort of thing. Just an FYI. I work at a major streaming service, and whenever we have licensed music in a trailer for a new show, we usually get sent the asset together along with a, quote, kill date, which is when the music license expires and we have to delete the asset from all our social media channels to avoid being sued. How far off those dates are varies greatly. It could even be a couple of months if it's an expensive and well-known song. In most cases, we then get an evergreen version of the same trailer with the licensed music removed, but that new version doesn't always get posted. I don't know what's going on with that KOTOR remake. I wish I did, but Sony's stated reason for deleting that trailer sounds pretty plausible to me.
So, okay.
There you go.
We talked about that last week.
I still don't buy it personally, but
that's come up a couple times, yeah. It could be both. It could be there were legitimate licensing issues with trailer and also that game's not happening.
Yeah. But thank you for writing it. I always love a little bit of industry insider news.
Yeah. Always.
Anything else on the email front?
Yeah.
Okay.
Christopher from Portland writing and asking about Plex.
Okay.
We could have talked about this in the news. This is kind of tangential to video games, but did you see that? I believe it's Discovery content that you have bought on the PlayStation Network is just going to become unavailable to you in the near future.
I did. Discovery being not Discovery like a term like you discovered it. Discovery like the network. Yeah,
just like whoever the fuck the corporate Frankenstein is that is Discovery, Warner Brothers Discovery now or whatever. Like, straight up, if you like video that you purchased on PlayStation Network, Sony has just announced, like, hey, after such and such a date, these titles that you paid money for and quote unquote bought, you can no longer watch. It's like the nightmare scenario of digital ownership. It's like the thing that's not supposed to happen. It's the thing that even when Nintendo shuts down the eShop for an old console, you can still download the stuff you bought. You just can't buy anything new, right?
Yeah.
This is full on. You can no longer use the digital product that you bought.
That sucks.
It's crazy. It is crazy, and feels like if that kind of thing ends up happening more, it's gonna end up in court or even legislation at some point, because that really feels like a bridge too far.
Yeah,
that always felt like the handshake deal between platforms and consumers.
Yep.
That like we get that you could really screw us on this, but like you're not going to do that, right? Because that would be really bad.
Like you'll at least I can't buy it, but I'll at least be able to watch it, or you'll give me some other way to view this stuff I paid for.
It's like, hey, okay, I get that I'm giving up some level of control to get this in a more convenient form.
Right.
But let's be real. There are some bridges you should not cross here.
Mm-hmm. Now here we are.
Go figure it would be discovery to cross that bridge. Anyway, they need to figure that shit out. That's terrible. Anyway, Christopher from Portland wrote in saying, with Sony removing digital shows people bought, it got me thinking about ways I could use more physical media. The problem is good 4K Blu-ray players are expensive, and I often watch stuff on my office computer. I know you guys use Plex servers, but I don't know how much they work. I don't know much about how they work or why entirely.
Mm-hmm.
Could you just talk a little bit about your Plex servers and what your process is?
So, where you choose to run a Plex server is kind of up to you. People will often do them on separate boxes, on NASs, things like that. I run mine off my PC just because it's the one computer I really have in the house. And like my method is, I put all my media library stuff, I rip it using make MKV. I will encode it using StaxRip. You don't have to do any of that. If you have the room and not that many movies, you can just run the raw files you take from make MKV just fine. They're very big, so you want to make sure you have like an in-house network that can handle it. But I tend to re-encode stuff just because to me it's worth it. And basically I'm just running it like. What Plex does, once it's on your computer, you just tell it where those folders are. And it will scan all the files that you have in there. It will pull in metadata for what it thinks those files are, and you kind of have to go in there and massage it from there. Though it's pretty good. The scanning is generally pretty good. Sometimes it misses stuff, but as long as you're paying attention, it does a good job. And then from there, what it does is just serves you a UI that you can use through an app or however you want to use it. Generally I use my LG TV app as my way of watching stuff, and it just gives you a browsable interface to look through all the stuff that's in your media library and play it.
Yeah, you can either access your library through a web browser on any computer, or just basically every platform on the planet has a Plex app as well, although some of them are better than others.
Yeah.
Do you have Alex, is there a particular Blu-ray device you use to get your rip? Like, are there better ones than others?
So that's the trick, is that there is no 4K Blu-ray player that you can just rip from that exists kind of on its own.
That has changed, actually. I'll jump in. Yes. If you really want to go down a rabbit hole, the Make MKV forums, actually, it turns out, are the place to go.
That's where I got mine.
Yes. There are, I haven't looked in a while. Last I looked, every Blu-ray drive for computer that could rip 4K discs involved having to flash custom firmware to it.
Yes.
I don't know if that's changed. I doubt it. I highly doubt they are just shipping Blu-ray drives that do it out of the box now. But it is, if you want to jump through the hoops, and there are straight up people in those forums selling pre-flashed Blu-ray drives now that you can just buy if you want to rip 4K discs.
I mean, that's how I got one, was that one of the hobbyists on there was selling a bunch of different kinds of drives, and I just grabbed one.
Yeah. I've done that flash myself. It's not that hard. I mean, it's a little weird, but they have instructions that are reasonably easy to follow.
But what I was just trying to say is that you can't get a 4K Blu-ray drive out that just lets you rip that stuff out of the box.
Yeah.
I'll just add, just on top of what Brett and Alex said, that there is a bit. So Plex is just one of these services that run your media or front end.
It's
for your
the
media
biggest
library.
one currently.
It's the biggest one. It allows you to do local and you can access it remote if you set it up that way. So you can access it outside of your house or off of your intranet or your LAN. The clients are all over the place. Like the where you load Plex up from may determine your experience using Plex. Like Alex said, there's an app on the TV, on the LG TV.
Yep.
There's clients on the Xbox, PS5. They are all slightly different, and they all support slightly different things in terms of audio, subtitles, different things. I have found I used it on the TV for a while. I have an older TV, LG TV. It eventually was just having too many problems with subtitles specifically, and I moved over to what is the name of it? The box.
The Shield TV.
Yeah, and it runs great on there. So, subtitles and everything on there. Transcodes is another thing you're going to want to look into. Basically, when you load in, like Alex said, the video, if you load it in a format that your end client can play as, then you don't have to worry about any kind of transcoding, meaning a re-render on the computer side. But if you're playing something, if you've ripped it in HDR and you're playing on a device that doesn't support HDR, you might have to transcode that, or if the bandwidth is too high or low or whatever it is, you might have to monkey around with that stuff. So just be aware. I'm sure there are very good guides out there to look into, but
look, I am not the most tech savvy person in the world, even for my current line of work, but I will say figuring out Plex was more of a fun challenge than a nightmare challenge. Now it has its quirks, it has its idiosyncrasies, and there are aspects of it that do not work as well as it should. But by and large, as a thing that just scans your media library and gives you an easy way to use it, it's probably still your best option.
Yeah, and you can set the server up on any Windows or Mac machine that you might already have if you just want to try it out. Yeah, I mean, if you want to be a lunatic and run it on like a headless Linux machine, if you want to get there, you can do that. But like, just to try it out, like even on your desktop Windows machine or whatever, you can just give it a shot pretty easily.
Yeah, just point it at a folder with. Is Plex still pretty strict with folder naming for TV and stuff?
I'll put it this way: if you get into Plex, you'll find yourself on Plex knowledge base articles fairly regularly, trying to understand various aspects of its behavior. And one of those is the way that folders are structured and the names of files are done, so it can detect the names of things and fill in all the posters and release dates and metadata and stuff is pretty specific.
But again, not to just kind of implicitly or explicitly endorse Plex, but like Alex said, it's one of the bigger ones, so there's a lot of community support out there too. You can kind of find your answers out there. Jellyfin, the other one, right?
Jellyfin's the big, fully open, free open source one. There's also EMBY, EMBY, which is Plex and EMBY both have paid, like they have paywalled features, like some of the advanced features are behind a one-time pass that you have to pay for. People seem to like EMBY too. I tried it very briefly, but not a lot.
And Plex has started adding in other features that aren't of interest to me, but maybe be of interest to other people, like renting or getting movies that you don't have there, or live TV and stuff like that.
Or emulating video games.
Yeah,
there's weird.
Not necessarily stuff that I'm into.
I think they've started removing some of those features again now, luckily, so maybe they got that out of their system.
I kind of almost wish you could just opt out and like just get them completely off of the install, like give me a clean version.
The most recent thing is they tried to roll out some kind of public watch history.
Oh.
Like anybody else on your server can just like see your watch history unless they do give you a chance to opt out of it. But
it is in the admin dashboard. You can see a watch history.
Yeah. This is like public for anybody else who has access to your server.
Just going to say heads up to anybody on shared servers. There is the admin can usually see what's been being
I know what you're up to.
Yeah, of course, the admin put that content on the server.
That's also a good point.
Their hands are not clean either. To be fair, this feels like a more pressing topic in light of this PSN stuff. Like that sucks so much. Like I am not a physical media person at all because I hate clutter around the house.
Yeah.
But I actually went and got the full box set of the entire Blu-ray run of Star Trek: The Next Generation recently.
Mm-hmm.
I have access to it on legitimate streaming already. but maybe I won't someday.
Right. Yes.
Like, who knows? Any of that stuff could just vanish at any moment, and now is.
Your digital rights management.
Like anything that like really truly means something to you in media, like it seems like maybe actually a good idea to get a hold of that.
Man, imagine if Steam ever did that. Steam were like, hey, just a heads up, we're not only turning off some of the like access to a lot of these games, you can't download them anymore, and like that's it. Like the thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe of dollars you spent here on your library.
I didn't follow up on this too much. I was reading a little about this recently, that apparently Gabe Newell has like talked publicly about what processes are in place when he dies.
Oh, jeez.
Like they have implied that like, hey, it's taken care of.
Jeez.
Like, first of all, I don't know what the ownership is there. I don't know that he's like majority. He's definitely not, surely not the only owner of Valve, but still, like,
what his wishes would be.
If it's enough of a concern that they have like tried to reassure people that like, hey, if something happens to the ownership of this company, it's not going to immediately just end up in the hands of Microsoft or Amazon or something.
Everybody's going to get a server delivered to their door.
What
you get,
dude? What is the Gabe protocol?
I don't know. It becomes an open source data center where everybody runs it. That is the emails. Our email address is podcast@nextlander.com, podcast@nextlander.com, podcast@nextlander.com. And that's going to do it for this week's show. We are heading into the end of the year, wrapping up with our video games. They still continue to come out, though it seems like that Pandora or Avatar game, maybe one of the bigger AAA releases that we were looking to get on the other side of in December, and it will be out at the time of this recording tomorrow. We are continuing down with the Watchcast in Twin Peaks Season 2. We've got episode 1 up now over on the Patreon. We will have episode 2 and 3 going up next week. You can get on the Twin Peaks train and experience, maybe for the first time, the weirdness and nonsensical nature of everything going on in Twin Peaks and experience it alongside of us. I had never seen it before. Brad's never seen it before. Alex has seen it before as he guides us through Twin Peaks. That's patreon.com/Nextlander. You can check that out along with the Ramblecast. Never Been a Better Podcast. We're going to be recording one of those, I believe, next week. And I think that is Austin and Abby on the docket for that one next week. So you can take a look for that going up on the Patreon next week. There is a tier over on the Patreon that gets their names read on this here show, and Alex Navarro to do the honors of reading our mysterious benefactors for this week.
I would be glad to. Our mysterious benefactors for this week are Ryan Waterman, RRE, Infelicitous Rips, Kelly F., Brian Lucier, Skywarp, John Hubbard, Evan Cook, Mark Wilhelm, Jerry Lee, SteamWorld Deirdre, Gary Pejsky, Robert Fisher, John McGinnis, Llama Magic, Peter Reardon, Jad Rita, Statics, Fantasticasm89, Andrew Jackson, Mega Crane, Razgriz2 Marauder Hardly Newer, Brian Murphy, Randy Duax, Andrew Tiebkin, Alex Wu, It Me JP, Matt Clements Jr., Edward Chick, Andrew Slosky, Steve Lynn, Matthew Herrig, David Campos, and Tyler Treese.
Thank you to all our mysterious benefactors, and thank you to everyone who has gone over to patreon.com/Nextlander to support us. We appreciate it. We couldn't do it without you. We just got through saying kind of what a miserable and tough year it has been, and we really do appreciate anybody giving us support this year with all the other stuff going on, I'm sure, in their lives around the world. So thank you again to everyone for keeping us going.
Yeah.
That is going to do it for this week's show. Brad, you mentioned maybe getting into some Lethal Company on Friday. I say we just do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Who's going to stop us?
Nobody. The monsters inside the buildings. But as long as we get some bodies out there and back in the ship. We played some Lethal Company last week over on our Patron's Choice on Friday. I think we all had a good time. I talked to Abby about it. She is in. I think we go back in I got that whole setup done in vMix, which should be fine. 90% of the back end work on that one. It's a fun game.
Yeah, I feel like we just were really starting to get it right at the end.
Yeah. I'm kind of with you. We didn't talk about it during the games, but maybe we'll talk about it next week. A little persistence would be nice.
Yeah, that's my question, because like the ship upgrades, it's a run-based game. I can't just sit here and talk about what the company we have to go, but the ship upgrades are crazy expensive. And it makes me wonder if, like, are those permanent? Because it seems like you would have to survive for a whole bunch of days to get enough money to even buy one of those.
Maybe you reset your money when you die.
Yeah,
it seems like.
It's like 700 for... And anyway, we'll get into it, but I'm with you.
But I think the money escalates quickly. I think there's a ramp.
Sure.
Yeah, because the quotas go up quite a bit.
Yeah, sure.
So you're probably pulling in bigger and bigger, harder loot. Because also you get charged per planet at some point to dock there. Well, maybe we'll check it out this Friday. We got a grab bag coming up tomorrow. That'll, again, no stream for the Game Awards, but like Brad said, maybe you'll catch us or catch Brad. I might jump in there too, over in the not Twitch chat, over on our Discord, where if you can join us over at patreon.com/Nextlander, just get yourself in there. It's a fantastic community with fantastic participants and fantastic mods.
Yeah.
Thanks again to all the mods.
Yes, thank you, mods. It'll probably be in the Gaming Live Events chatter channel.
Okay, Gaming Live Events chatter. One of the many channels over on my Discord. Thank you, Alex Navarro. Thank you, Brad Shoemaker. And we'll be back next week.